Babel. That's where a lot of it comes from. And a lot of what ancient Egyptians did was similar to what the ancient Babylonians did, and vice versa. Similar to what the ancient Canaanites did, and the ancient Phoenicians did, so forth and so on. Okay? But the ancient Egyptian religion was a complex system of polytheistic beliefs and rituals. You see now, when we discuss in the truth about God, the term Elohim, which means more than one. But see, this is one of the things that happened. Polytheism came about. Ask yourselves a question. Let's look at what's happening in our world today as far as entertainment goes. I'm not sure how many of you are moviegoers. There was a movie out recently called The Immortals. There was a movie out a couple of years back called Clash of the Titans, which was a remake of an older movie. They got another movie about to come out called Wrath of the Titans. What is this for? These are the questions we have to ask, because there are powers that are at work in our world today, and because we are distracted by the many vices the adversary has set up, we don't see his hand moving, because what he's doing, he's still keeping these thoughts alive, keeping these thoughts fresh, so that people continue to maintain doubt. The practices of Egyptian religion were efforts to provide for the gods and gain their favor. Former religious practice centered on the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Although he was a human, the Pharaoh was believed to be descended from the gods. He acted as the intermediary between his people and the gods, and was obligated to sustain the gods through rituals and offerings so that they could maintain order in the universe. Another important aspect of the religion was the belief in afterlife and funerary practices. The Egyptians made great efforts to ensure the survival of their souls after death, providing tombs, grave goods, and offerings to preserve the bodies and spirits of the deceased. The details of religious belief changed over time as the importance of particular gods rose and declined, and their intricate relationships shifted. At various times, certain gods became preeminent over the others, including the sun god Ra, the creator god Amun, and the mother goddess Isis. Listen to this. The existence of the Book of the Dead was known as early as the Middle Ages, well before its contents could be understood. Since it was found in tombs, it was evidently a document of a religious nature, and this led to the widespread misapprehension that the Book of Dead was equivalent to a Bible or a Quran. Okay? Now, the Book of the Dead is just a modern name of an ancient Egyptian funerary text. That's all it is. Right? The text consists of a number of magic spells. Remember? Think about that. Nachash in the Hebrew. The text consists of a number of magic spells intended to assist a dead person's journey through the Duat, or underworld, and into the afterlife. Now, Duat is the underworld and is connected with Nun. Now think about that. Because see, Nun is that all-important letter that we discussed according to the Word, which points to the seed. The seed which will eventually come down based on Hathura, or the Torah, and become flesh. But what we see here, that in the Egyptian way of thinking, or the way of life, it has been corrupted. There's some truth there. Again, the adversary, in order to deceive, has to use some aspects of the truth in order to rebuild that lie and keep doubt growing in the minds of humanity. Now, Ma'at, okay, is an ancient Egyptian concept of truth, balance, order, law, morality, and justice. Ma'at was personified as a goddess. Think about that. Think about the scriptures, how it personifies wisdom as being her. Wisdom lifted up her voice. You see, you read about that in the book of Proverbs. Okay? Where did these things come from? What we see here is the adversary, in all these different ways that he has given, all of these different religions, he is certainly mimicking in a corrupted form that wisdom that he already had. You see, remember the scriptures taught that his wisdom was corrupted by reason of his brightness. In other words, he became prideful, which led to his fall. But it didn't take away the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding that he possessed. It only became perverted, and that's what we see. We see some aspect of the truth in all of these different ways of belief. You see? But they are shrouded in falsehood. Or in other words, they have been confused. Again, Ma'at was also personified as a goddess, regulating the stars, seasons, and the actions of both mortals and the deities, who set the order of the universe from chaos at the moment of creation. And see, it is these type of doctrines that humanity is wrestling with. See, it is these type of doctrines that have kept us from accepting what was given to Moshe and the prophets, which actually lead to eternal life. We're going to look at some other things. We're going to take a look at a few of the founders. Now, one of the things that the Most High wanted to do, a lot of people like to attribute what they refer to erroneously as Judaism as being founded by Moshe. Not so. One of the things that we find is that when the Creator sent Moshe, he wanted to make it known that it wasn't something that this man has conjured up on his own. What he wanted to bring forth is that it was definitely the Creator of the heavens and the earth. So what he did, he raised the nation to Mount Sinai, Mount Horeb, and he introduces himself, I am Yahweh, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And then he proceeds and he gives them 10 words or 10 commands. Moshe didn't have to say a word, because what the Most High wanted to do, he wanted to establish in one of the greatest events before the coming of Mashiach, one of the greatest events to ever take place in this world system. That is the Creator of the heavens and the earth speaking to his people, so that they would not get the idea that this was something that Moshe conjured up, contrary to what these scholars and these intellectuals out here are telling you. They are lies and they are deceits if they say otherwise. But what you find in every other religious belief, we already seen one example with Buddha. Muhammad, who was born in 570 of the Common Era. He died 632 of the Common Era. He is the founder of the religion Islam. In other words, the point in interjecting these next few examples here, prior to Muhammad coming on the scene, Islam, as we know it today, was not practiced in this world system. But what Muslims would have you to believe is that what Muhammad did was restore something. No, he didn't. What Muhammad did, he started his own brand of religion. Now, in the Quran, he actually talks about the importance of what Moshe was given and the importance of what Mashiach, Yahushua was given. Unfortunately, they don't call him by that name. They call him by the name Isa, which is derived from the name Jesus, which comes from Jesus. Okay? That's why he's referred to as Isa, opposed to going back to the original name that he was given, Yahushua, which actually adds to the falsehood of the Quran. It's unfortunate because a lot of Muslims proclaim that one of the things about the Quran is that it hasn't been tampered with as the Bible has been tampered with. But see, therein lies the problem. Because it hasn't been tampered with. When Mashiach was born into this world, he was not given the name Isa. Now, because Arabic is the sister language of the Hebrew language, that is a language that sounds can be copied in perfectly. There's no reason why the name Yahushua could not be pronounced by an Arabic person, since the Arabic and the Hebrew languages are so similar. So what's the